teach K-5 library class, so digital citizenship, information, technology, reading, of course, and technology is in there too. And then they have a fixed time period, so the K-5 kids also have a lot of technology and thinking differently going on in the elementary. And then I teach 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade together, kind of a, I don't know really what we call it, a digital citizenship type class where they learn internet safety and copyright, fair use, research skills, and a lot about like the different Web 2.0 tools that you can use online, and things also just about their computer. And then I teach a PLN class, which stands for your Personal Learning Network, and Web 2.0 class to a class of our high school kids, and then I have another group that I work with in Philly. We teach the class together. So that's kind of what my day looks like. And so I do a lot of different projects with the kids and help out the teachers a lot too, be there for a resource. I use this, like Sean said, he has the same site, but we've built these in Google Sites, and so all the teachers have one, and we use the Google Calendar, which is something that we also have the kids use and get on, so it organizes themselves a lot. But on this site I have everything that I might need as a teacher or that the kids might need too. And so we use, like Darren said, the calendar, which has all of their assignment, which has really been a really huge thing for our kids to get organized, for parents to know, for other teachers to know, because we all have advisory groups, so it's been pretty strong that way. One thing that I did first last year was I always had a website because we have Destiny for our circulation system in the library, and so I would build it just in there. But once we started the one-to-one last year, I saw a real need for our library also to be very virtual, where they could get to resources also outside of just the four walls of our library or on Destiny. And so I used Google Sites again, and I built one for the high school, one for the secondary, and then one for the elementary, just using Google Sites, which is totally free. This is easy to use. Our kids are using them now in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to build their own research sites. We're doing their research projects using Google Sites, so it's not a hard thing to do for that. And everything that the kids might need is on here, from going to the Iowa AEA resources to going to Web 2.0 tools, a lot of what Sean already showed from his site, going to places that they can connect with authors or book sites, anything that they might need. Destiny, which is our circulation system, citation creators, and it's not just all virtual either. I mean, it's also just a lot of, where do you go to get information on internet safety, or a question about copyright or fair use or something like that. So just connecting them. And one thing that I did this year was I bought the domain through GoDaddy for all of my sites. And so like on Mrs. Miller's Voice, all they have to put in is mrsmillersvoice.com. For this one, all I have to put in is vanmetervoice.com. And so the kids, it seems like I hear that a lot, just go to vanmetervoice.com. So making it really, really easy for them to constantly find it. And this is just an example of our elementary one. It's just called Little Van Meter Voice. One way that I promote the library a lot in the projects that the kids are doing, and to let them have a voice too, to be heard, globally, for people all around the world to see what's happening at Van Meter, is I blog a lot. This is my high school, the secondary library blog, and I put a lot of projects on, a lot of things that the kids do too, because our kids are blogging, they're creating Web 2.0 tools, like Sean showed some examples. They're connecting with people, I mean, not just with other students, but in my class, like experts on things, like the creators of these Web 2.0 tools. Or we have you guys ever heard of Finding Dulcinea? It's a website, anybody heard of it?
Yes.
And it is a
Yeah.
website that
That's all I've heard.
I connected
Connected
with him on Twitter, the creator Mark Morin from New York, and he has taught not just our kids but also our staff several times from New York City about his amazing website. And I mean, bringing an expert like that in to teach about, the actual creator of a tool, that's more powerful and better than what I can teach. Plus I get to learn about it more too. This is a really good example, and even though it's in the elementary, this is happening in the secondary too, but I met a librarian in Chicago a couple months ago, and he's in K-5 also like me in the elementary. And so we've been using things like Sean showed Edmodo. So our 4th graders are using Edmodo to connect with kids. They're talking about books. They're talking about their interests. At Christmas time they did an activity where they responded to each other. Our 1st graders just did an activity where they filled out their own Google Doc and sent it in. It went into it was a survey. They sent it into a form, and now they're going to do podcasts next week. They talked to their friends in Chicago today. Darren's daughter was actually in there, and to see them so engaged in that, because they're engaging with people that are there. They call them their book buddies, and talking about the Caldecott books that won last year, talking about the nonfiction that they're learning about. That's pretty powerful to see that, 6-year-olds doing that. And this is just an example this is the blog that we're doing with Chicago, and we just called it 2 Libraries, 1 Voice. And yesterday there was a really good article in a paper in Chicago about the connections that are being made. And these are his 1st graders. And you look at their faces and see how excited they are. They're talking, recording their voices in a podcast that's going to be put onto a blog to share with their friends in Van Meter. And that was a simple, I think that when I have to tell the story about Nick, but we went to ISTE last year, Darren and John and I and a couple other teachers, and we met Nick from Detroit. And so we came back, and Sean, he was excited, but nervous about how are we going to do this and what is it going to look like. And to see them, after a couple first, meetings, they just took off, and that's all it took was just to ask. It's out there, all these social networks to connect. Get on Twitter, Digo, Facebook. I have a Facebook for my library, and just start connecting to people and making connections, and you have nothing to lose by asking people to help you. And now on Twitter, I have people all the time, experts of tools, ask me if they can, can we show your kids this new tool that we have? Can we come into your classroom? And I had one last night of a new history tool, can we teach your PLN class about this tool? So all it takes, I think, is to get connected in a different way. This is another one that we have with Merton, and this is an example of a wiki that our kids in 3rd grade have created Glogsters. And so they worked on a simple, a Glogster is another Web 2.0 tool, and it's totally free. And for Christmas, they made them of their holiday wishes. And so I took screenshots and put them all on there. Well, now they're collaborating together, researching habitats with their 3rd grade friends. But this was kind of